see if it's picked it up. Sometimes I still don't trust this goddamn bot. It has picked it up. Beautiful things to see. We will now put this into the announcement chat because I'm on my own. GT7 driver. So, we'll go through the standings in a minute. Hello to everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying their Sunday night. Alright, now that's put into the announcements chat. Beautiful. Put that on my... I can't put it on my phone yet, so I have to put it on... I'll put the actual chat on myself in a second. I hope everyone can hear me. We'll go through the teams and the situation in the standings in a second here, because the situation is fairly tense. With 2 weeks to go, there is still probably about 4 or 5 teams looking for there's still a couple of teams looking and vying for a spot in this top 5. Would probably say the top 3 are safe for now, but that's a whole different ball game. The teams outside of the top 3 will absolutely have some work to do to make sure that they're safe. There is a team looking to probably put the nail in the coffin in terms of trying to get that top 5 spot. But we'll see if they are able to do so. We'll run through the teams in a second. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves this afternoon. I hope everyone can hear me alright as well. Alright. Yeah, they've definitely gone and got some, but they've got some reinforcements. That's for certain. The problem is you've got to stop them now. Everyone else has got to put themselves together to come and stop that reinforcement, because Calster in the F-Type is going to be a very, very difficult job to stop today. When you've got connections at the end of the day. You think Aero GT and Project Platypus might be a little bit too close for comfort at the halfway stage. Don't forget, there's about 50 points separating them at the top. It's not even that, it's 45 points between NWR and Project Platypus. Yeah. Calster World finalist, yeah. Jesus. It's amazing the reach that NWR has. It's amazing the reach NWR has. And by proxy, in the same vein, the same kind of pull we have as well. As a league. You got a team like this who can actually pull those kind of guys. Very interesting, because I need to go and do a little bit of DMing, trying to get some other team's attentions. But I've asked for Plat to try and get a hold of Distinct, and I've asked for Mumu to try and get a hold of VQS as well. Get Vanquish in here. Could be very interesting if that is something that ends up happening. Hopefully INF decide to bring themselves back into the fold. We're hopefully pushing in the right direction. We have about 3 minutes until we're meant to actually go. Skyline's still having problems trying to join. Yeah, we got the top, so current top 5. 2 other kingdoms should be in here. We are waiting, we're not waiting on anyone, sorry, so just gonna make sure I know who we are, so who's on what team. I'm gonna do this way instead, for some reason. Okay. That's one thing I didn't do. I saved a few things from my own reports on Monday. I didn't clear them out. Well, everyone's going to have non-liveries today. That's absolutely stupid. Apologies in advance then for that. I think it's a game storage thing rather than anything else. I wonder if I can very quickly, if it is just a game storage thing. If I can hit the right button on my goddamn... And just do that real quick, get rid of all those. Let's hope there's some sort of difference in that. Definitely they're going to be, but that is what it is. Poll time's going to be probably somewhere in the 25s, I reckon. I don't think it'll be too much quicker than what we usually do on a Monday around here. I do think the answer is going to be in the 25, maybe mid to high. We'll see what Calster can do realistically, because that's what I think going to be on poll. That is who I think is going to be on poll at the end of the day. So, we've got Mafiology, Syndra and Ahmed on 2 Oil Kingdoms. So, they're just going to run through the 5 teams real quick and also put a starting soon. That's not the button to start soon. That's not even close. That's just bringing up the recording bit for PS5. That's definitely not how you do that. Yeah, so we've got Mafiology here. We've got Syndra and Ahmed. Where is he? Where is Ahmed? GT Ahmed there underneath Syndra, sorry. That is the Toro Kingdom team. That is currently in 5th. Then you've got Italian Team Motorsport, which is Keplero, which is the Italians here. So we've got Kepler, we've got Emery, and we've got Alessandro. Then we've obviously got Aero GT. They're coming on back-to-back wins for Aura, who is back again in the Citroen. And then they've also got Anonyma here, not Anonyma, and they've also got Astro at the top of the list. And then we've got Project Platypus, very similar, very similar lineup for them all season. Kellen, BX, and Mortal this time. Mortal and BX obviously having a great day in Canada and need to follow that up in order to bring them Project Platypus just that little bit closer to NWR, who is Monkus, who served their their qualifying ban last time out, so finished 3rd in Lobby C. And then Jensen, who had a nightmare in Canada, and a world finalist in Calster that just brought in because reasons. I can't imagine that the people are going to struggle to get anywhere near Calster today. I would be very surprised if they did. Alright, I will very quickly take a look at the settings and we'll get going. We've got everyone in. We're going to get going then. Not sure if it's necessary. It will be necessary, so I will also, in the process, start to place in my keyboard while I'm here. That way I can see stuff happening in real time. And in replay. Would help if I actually didn't put my keys on top of the keyboard wire, so I can actually get a hold of them. We currently go into qualifying. We'll very much do that as well. Alright, I have my keyboard set up. Fortunately, going to have a very little amount of liveries for some reason. Definitely didn't lose any control over the amount I have in GT storage or anything. Absolutely going to have to put a reminder in my phone to do that next time, as soon as we leave this race. Otherwise, this is going to become problematic. We're going, and then we'll have a little bit of a wait, I think, for Lobby C later on. It doesn't look like they've started yet at all. We're going to get YouTube up as well. We go through qualifying at this point in time. Well, I reckon pole is going to be Calster, and I reckon I'll say 25.5. Because it's the GT storage, it takes loaded power to load up deliveries, and if you don't have enough storage in GT, it won't load up deliveries. It's the telltale sign that you've got not enough storage left in GT. Go on the first lap here for Monkiss and company. Low 36, I reckon, is going to be the cutoff. Actually, no, mid 36 is probably going to be the cutoff, I reckon, for Lobby A. I reckon probably 36.4 might, not 36, 26.4 might be where the cutoff probably lies. Yeah, it's doing enough of these commentaries by now. I should probably have been more aware of the situation of my own storage. It's one of those that creeps up on you every time. You save a couple of things, then you don't realise it, then it becomes stuck when you have no liveries, and then you're like, yep, okay, well that's a mess up. Assume when it comes to their own GT's own build when they do the World Series, all of those stuff, that kind of stuff is not a problem. Probably the first time they actually go onto that account. But yeah, here's a problem that I need to actually remember to do, because I seem to be pretty bad at it. Looks like we've got a few drivers right now, right behind each other on their first qualifying lap. Monkiss is leading the way from BX, from Aura, and then Calster, I believe, is on the back of these three. It's interesting, because Calster's not giving himself a lot of room to manoeuvre here. Right, on the back of the Citroen as well. 26.3, 25.6, 26.1, and then 25.7 for the four cars respectively, and that is Calster. That has come out on top of the first, drew first blood then. 25.7 for Calster, 25.9 for BX, Aura 26.1, 26.3 for Monkiss, Sindra 26.5. We've got a couple extra times coming in at the same time. Alessandro 26.1, only 17 thousandths of a second off the back of Aura, so Alessandro in 4. That is 4 different teams in the top 4. That is someone in the wall. Kellen 26.2 for Project Platypus. Monkiss in 6, 26.3, comes into the pits after hitting the wall there. Sindra in 7, 26.5. 26.6 for Keplero. Mapiology 26.7. 26.7 for Astra as well. Maybe I was a little bit ambitious with this 26.5 being the cut-off, 26.4, 26.5 being cut off. With what we've seen in the first couple of laps. You've got Ahmed 26.8. Jensen not setting a proper lap yet, but was purple for a little while there. Then you've got Mortal in 13th and Henry after that in 14th. See if we're going to watch Jensen for now on this final lap, on this flying lap rather, for NWR right now. Into the pits for Ahmed in front of him. Looks like Jensen to the line. Is it going to be a pole position set? No, it's a 26.110, just slightly quicker than Aura. A little bit quicker for Kellen. Does jump Aura for now. Aura coming to the line, but he's not in a flying lap. Alessandro's down into 4th. Sindra's up under 26.290. That's enough to beat Monkiss, jump him into 7th. Monkiss is going to have another run in a second. We are actually starting to bring it down just a little bit. Henry's on a lap. Don't know whether or not this is a flying lap or not. Anonymous is the only other one without a lap time. If you add Mortal in, then there's anyone without a representative lap time. We'll see what time those three can actually muster up. Henry here to the line now then. See what he can put together. And it is a 26.6. Good enough for 11th. Only 9/10 of a second off of what Kauster has managed to produce up to this point, but still nonetheless, it's not that impressive. 27.2 for Anonymous. Got to find something and find it quickly. Kauster's on an outlap. BX is on an outlap. Jensen not quite on an outlap yet. Is this a flying lap or is this a pit lane lap? We'll figure it out. There's a couple of cars in the back there trying to figure their own positions out. This is a pit lane lap for Jensen then. Kellen, Alessandro, Sindra, all out there as well. All of them stayed out. The 4 or 5 cars here that are all right beside each other. Kepler 26.18. Oh, exact same time as Alessandro. Kellen has just jumped BX and Kellen goes into second. Project Platypus starting to show out just a little bit. 2 and 3 right now. Alessandro and Kepler, I just want to point this out. Identical lap times. Wow. Looked like it was a little bit purple through the first sector there. Kepler, that might be a penalty. That might have been a little bit too shallow. I'll wait and see if it gives him that. It doesn't look like it has. He may have got away with one there. Emery 26.4, and you can see the times are just starting to come down across the grid. Maybe I was right with that 26.4 being the cutoff. Sindra's going past. Kepler Road's backed out of his lap by the looks of things, the way he's currently driving. 26.8 for Anonymous. Brings him closer, but still not close enough. Genuinely do think that that's not a good enough time to make the cut. Entire second off the pace. Oh, Kepler just slided his car on the exit, not really doing much help for himself, and yep, he is going to pit in. So does Sindra, so does Alessandro, so does Kellen. We have BX out on a lap, Mortal out on a lap. We only assume those two are, that's what those two are doing by giving each other tow down the back straight, or well, giving Mortal a tow down the back straight. It's not a good exit by any means. Just trying to use as much of the track as possible. It wasn't great. Ahmed 26.3. Should jump him into the top 10, but probably just about close enough to make it. Here comes to the line for BX is slow. Mortal 26.7. It's only good enough to jump him up a couple of places. Kauster not improving. Only doing a 26.1 there. So he's still 0.2 of a second clear of Kellen, but it's not clear by a convincing... Well, 0.2 of a second is a convincing margin, but it's not as clear as we thought it might have been. Some of the cars do have delivery, some of the cars don't. Tell me, that's a nice feature of the game, eh? Kauster currently fastest through the first sector. And we'll give him a little bit of screen time here. The world finalist now in GT, driving for NWR. We'll see he's going up the hill toward the end of the lap. Aphiology in front of him has a penalty. Monkus behind him hasn't been able to hold width. I wonder how this is going to be change. You're going to change. It doesn't look like it great. He's down by less than 1/10 of a second. Sindra's going to bounce out the way there. Almost started coming back to the line, but realised late. Monkus is right on the back of Kauster. Kauster not giving anyone tows. Well, it's giving Monkus a tow, but not giving himself any help at all. Still down on his lap. Up towards the final corner of the lap. He does still have pole by 0.2 of a second, pretty much to the dot. To the line he goes. 26.6 is not an improvement. It is an improvement for Monkus, though. Still, it's not in the top 8. We just seemingly have the cars starting to come out onto the track. Anonymous to the line, with our Aura behind, neither of them improving. So I would assume this might be a go lap for Aura and for Anonymous here then. We are running out of time. This is literally the last shot for every single person on the track right now. Every single car to the line, it'll be the end of their qualifying afterwards, the final lap popping up on the screen. This is going to be interesting. Aura's got to improve. He's currently only good enough for 5th, 4/10 off of Kauster. Not improving through the first sector. His teammate is not helping him in the slightest here. And I think he's backed off. He's backed off the lap, so Aura's qualifying is over. Aura's qualifying is over, so Jensen's going to be the first one to the line. 26-1 for now, 3.5 tenths off of his teammate in the burgundy red. Can he get himself up over the hill, up over the hump into the top 2? Or even onto provisional pole against Kauster here. To the line he goes. Ahmed afterwards. It is an improvement for Jensen, but not a big enough improvement realistically. Kellen to the line now, 26 not improving. Kepler Alessandro, again, not really doing much to change the situation. 26-2 for Ahmed. BX has just gone over the line, not really doing much damage. Monkis up in a 5th. And all of a sudden, everyone's qualifying. They're just falling apart here. Trying to get themselves in front. Anonymous to the line now, trying to get himself over the top of the 26-8. He's not going to be able to do it, so he will qualify last from Lobby A. And that cut-off point, it might be actually a little bit lower than the 26-4 I thought it was going to be. Everyone is relatively close. The top 12 separated by just over half a second. The top 12 should be well and truly safe here. I'd be very surprised if we managed to see a situation where another 4 or 5 drivers fit themselves into that half-second margin. It is going to be very close. We could be in the situation where we go and have the entire grid knock 10 bells out of each other by the end of this one. Alessandro said Kellen owes him a drink. Well, Kellen currently in 2nd place. Looks like Platt also was driving at one point. I wonder what's going on there then. Alright, we're just getting a thing. That is a very close gap here. Alright, we will see very quickly then who is going to do what sort of damage in, well, in Lobby B and Lobby C. I'll just wait for Whack and for I'm trying to recreate Pepperidge Gate. Jensen trying to take a thing. Okay, so let's have a look. So this is Lobby B. 26-3 is the best time. Less than a tenth between the top 7 in Lobby B is absolutely insane. 26-3, 315, 26-316, 382, 385, 396, 398, 410, 480. What the hell is going on in Lobby B in terms of qualifying? So they're all 8 that I just mentioned, are all of them are ahead of Astro in 13th. So you can take those 3 on the bottom of the grid and goodbye to them, but none of them have beat Syndra. None of them have beat Syndra. Alright, so Lobby B. So, the top 12 survive one of the lobbies. Alright, let's see what is going on in C then. Are we going to get a picture sent through. So the bottom 3 are gone. That we already do. That we do in fact know. That makes things a lot interesting. Lobby B, the bottom 3 are gone, but the in Lobby B, the top 7 are separated by less than a tenth. Like, literally, no word of a lie. All 7, even if you want to go back to 8th as well, are separated by less than a tenth and a half. Or about a tenth and a half. Absolutely insane situations here. There's about 60 seconds left of qualifying in Lobby C, so we'll wait and see how that shakes out. So we've got about a minute to go. Right now, Aries, you are currently in 14th place. Lobby B, I thought this was extremely close. Turns out that Lobby B are just going to absolutely knock 10 out of each other before the end of this one. Well, I wanted to say black photo, but I don't know why I didn't. We'll see what do I get. Alright, just responding to a couple of people in chat. We've got about, could not be more than 30 seconds left in Lobby C. Not in a million years. Could be much less than that. Put that in very quickly for BX. Give that about 5-10 seconds in the lobby and start making up the next one. I actually want to just highlight Kepler and Alessandro here. That's absolutely insane. I am screenshotting that and sending that in because I need to. I'm gonna make a post about that. You're currently 14th, Aries. If there is 2 people in Lobby C quicker than you, you will be out for literally a thousandth of a second. Yes, that is something that could in fact happen. This is going to be extremely close. Yeah, this is just going to be insane. The entire grid is going to be separated by less than 0.6 of a second. That is absolutely insane. I'll end that race then, that way people can go through. BX should have this stuff from the stream. I hope the things are going to start loading so I can actually figure out what's going on in terms of the deliveries. That should be the same. That'll be custom weather. That'll be ×1. This will be the set by host. Everything else should be as it is. And it is. Are we going to have some idea of a livery at the very least? No, we're not. We're not! Because how are we ever, like, supposed to have nice things? We have Lobby C! Okay, so we have Lobby C now. The answer is 26283, and then 321. For those who weren't paying attention, oh, for those who weren't keeping track, Ares, for example, has a time of 316. I think he's safe, but I think he's the last person that's safe. And I think this is going to be done by about 3,000, about 5 thousandths of a second. If that. I think he's safe, but I think he's safe by 5 thousandths of a second. Wow! That is ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. Deforest is close, but it's never 6/10 between, essentially, what, 7/10 between 20 odd people. Wow, someone's missed out on 5 thousandths of a second. Someone has actually missed out on Lobby A by 5 1,000ths of a second. Pastina Calder just, I think, is... Ouch! Wow, okay, so that is just absolutely mind-boggling how close that is. I didn't need my credit balance. I don't know why you thought I would ever need my credit balance, but apparently the game did think that. Wow, okay. We're just going to be a little bit of time before BX can put things out properly, but I know for a fact that the 26316 is the cutoff. 26316 is going to be the cutoff. There is only 3, that does mean there's only 3 spaces available for Lobby B and Lobby C total. That is absolutely insane. Obviously the first one coming from Toussaint in Lobby C, and then both Senor Fak and Ares will come in from Lobby B. Wow, I can't imagine what Lobby B and Lobby C races are going to be like this time around though, because they're just going to be 6 or 7 people in both of those lobbies just at each other's throats the entire race. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be too surprised if this lobby is much different. 7/10, 6/10 actually, separating the entire grid is ridiculous. I don't care where we are, who we are, look what we're looking at. It's just absolutely insane. Calster currently doing practice starts in the Jag. Hey, good look at his technique there. He's just practicing it left, getting a few in straight away, starting on the medium tires by the looks of things. mediums for most of the grid. If they continue to stay where they are, damage for Kepler on his on his practice laps. The entire grid as it stands is going to start on the medium tyre. Kepler will stay ahead of Alessandro though, considering that's what the game had him as. Well, that is insane. I don't know how this is going to end now then. The entire grid within 7 seconds, attempts of a second in qualifying could just be carnage. In every way, shape or form. It's going to be an absolute mess. Missing 2 people. Unlimited chicken that's Tucson? Trying to figure out who's who. 1 second. It is unlimited chicken, yeah. I think someone just joined, I'm not sure who it is. Looks like they both may have just joined. Yeah, that is Toussaint and that is Senor Fac. So Toussaint, part of their TBG, might actually be their first or second foray into this lobby then. We have 3 NWR drivers in here. We have 3 Project Platypus drivers in here. Aero GT only had the 1. That is not good news for Aero GT, who was trying to hang on as close as they could to the front of the grid. And now their entire hope of damage limitations hangs on Aura's balance here. So it is going to be Calster, followed by Kellen, followed by BX to start off at the front. Where is he? There is BX. And then after that, it will be Jensen and Monkis in 4 and 5. Where's the man? Why am I losing where Monkis is? There he is. And after that, it will be Aura in 6th. It's Kaz. And then after Aura, it's Kepler and Alessandro, who had identical lap times. And then it's Ahmed. Then it is them. Mortal. Then San. If I can figure out where maths or what maths was, this would be interesting. Toussaint, and then it is Syndra, then it is Senor Fac, and then Aries, who was separated by 1,000th of a second in the actual qualifying session. Alright. That puts us in a position where for Lobby A, we are all but ready to go. In perfect condition, they were all separated by by less than 0.6 of a second. Let's see what they can do in less than optimal conditions with a little bit of wind and in race trim, basically. Do the last check of the settings. And we are good to go. Alright, we are going to start this race then. We are good to go. We are off to the races. Let's see what we have in store for our viewing pleasure today then. So it is Kauster for NWR, followed by 2 Project Platypus cards, and after that 2 NWR cards. Aura in 6th. Needs to be a big start for him with 4, with 5 red lights. It's lights out, away we go, down the wall, turn 1 is not a good start for Monkish, that is for certain. Dives to the inside, but not really making much of a move. Aura up in a 4th straight away. BX is going past Kellen. Kellen trying to defend for more on the inside. Aura pushing up in the center, on the inside of the corner, up in a 3rd straight away. It is a blistering start from the Citroen. It is a great start from the Citroen in all facets there, up in a 3rd straight away. Kauster is away from BX, from Aura, from Kellen. Then Alessandro up in a 5th on a brilliant start for him as well. And it's Jensen in 6th. Henry in 7th. Monkus in 8th. Not a great start for the Hyundai at all. NWR getting a little bit of a slide there. Now have Mortal to face in 9th. And Senor back jumping from 14th to 10th straight away. Ahmed in 11th. Now Zinkyo with behind him, and then Kepler as well, who's had the opposite of what is a good start like Alessandro's had. Kepler retakes the place back off Inkyo here. Sindra after that, and then Toussaint at the back of the grid. So, back to the front then. Had there been any sort of changes at the front in the last couple of corners? It does not look like there has been toward the end of the first lap. Kauster still has the advantage from the Viper. Here's Jaguar, Viper, Citroen, 1, 2, 3 at this point in time. Then it is Kellen after that. In the, I believe that's a Z4. In 4th place with the Z4 and behind him of the ITM colours in 5th. And Henry in 6th, a big good start here for ITM. Jensen down into 7th. Not a good start for NWR. We've now got a little bit of work to do. Kauster still ahead of BX. Kellen is ahead of Jensen. Monkus ahead of Mortal for now. But as it stands, it'll be very, very similar to the gap at the front at the start of the day, which stood at 45 points. It probably, if Kellen can get a good run, may actually shorten down from 45 by the end of the night. We'll wait and see how Jensen, how Monkus and company can facet the rest of this race. Mortal needs to make a move or two on Monkus at some point to make this a little bit more difficult. Henry is really the bottleneck right now. Already see the gap starting to form, the crack starting to show up. Poor Mortal sliding with Senor Fak on his inside. And Senor Fak getting pushed a little bit, squeezed into the wall there. That's an advantage over the Dutchman. Lost track and racing there, up ahead of Project Platypus. Mortal not really able to fight back against Senor Fak here. Ahmed diving to the inside, Mortal under fire. Mortal under heavy fire now. It looks like Kepler in the background there, the other white Viper. Should be red, white and green for ITM. Just trying to keep himself inside at the moment. Just trying to keep himself involved in the battle between him and the 3 in front. And then you see the 3 at the back just trying to keep themselves at arm's length. Here we go, Mortal trying to keep himself ahead of Ahmed and trying to force himself down the inside of Senor Fak, but Senor Fak really not able to do it well. He's really able to hold on. Mortal needs to make something go forward rather than go backwards, because now they're kind of bottlenecking themselves off from Monkus in 8th, and that is not a good sign for Mortal in particular. Project Platypus need that position. They need everything they can get against NWR as we head towards week 6 and the cut-off, and then the double points racing in 7 and 8. I wonder, realistically, if there's going to be any sort of push for Jensen and for Monkus to go past Emery, because Emery is well and truly holding them off the back of Alessandro. Also off the back of Kellen right now. That gap has kind of sorted itself out. Alessandro now dropping off the back of Kellen, dropping back to his teammate in 6th. Top 4 starting to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. A little bit of contact in the back of the screen there. I'm not sure who it was. I think it may have been Kepler and Ahmed. They may have come together there. We continue to watch them anyway. More contact between Kepler and Ahmed as they head through the final corner of the lap. Would watch a replay, but these two are still going hammer and tongue at each other, so we're not going to watch it now. Sant, the one at the back with the half-second penalty. And it looks like Ahmed is going to hang on against Kepler for now. Inkyo trying to go the long way round on Kepler, not really getting it to stick. Cinder at the back, that is, I was about to say, maybe it's just the tyres starting to squeal a little bit, but wasn't sounding too promising, that's for certain. Or just getting a little bit slidey on the exit of some of these corners. And you're back well off the back of Monkis now. Monkis just hanging in there with Jensen and with Emery at this point in time. Alessandro in front of that. Kellen, in fourth, has kept himself a nice healthy way ahead of Alessandro as they go themselves. Front four are starting to break a little bit of a gap. The X 9th a second ahead of Aura. Kauster really has not been able to break himself away from BX. Don't forget, Kauster is a world finalist this season, and in GT World Series. So you'd expect him to break away at some point from BX, but BX is keeping him very honest at the start of this one. Aura just starting to drop off the back of the front two, so we are just splitting into twos up to this point. Wonder if there's going to be any sort of potential move at some point here. Here comes Kellen, the inside of Aura. Aura's still there. It looks like Aura is still ahead. For those that are wondering where the liveries are, for those that not actually seeing much, those who weren't here earlier on, I'll explain it again. But in GT, when you're doing the commentary and all that stuff, when you're watching replays, lobbies, etc., etc., if you don't have enough GT storage, it won't load liveries. It's the telltale sign that you have not enough storage. In which that is my own fault. Entirely my own fault. But I forgot to actually remove some of my storage on GT before the start of the race. So you half deliveries are there, half deliveries are not. That is my fault. I apologise for that in advance. Yeah, Kauster still ahead of BX for now. Aura ahead of Kellen, third and fourth. Alessandro from Emery, from Jensen. Monkis for some reason dive out of the slipstream for a second there, but come back in as they go along. Tenyo back is still ahead of Mortal with Ahmed after that. And then you've got Kepler and Inkyo still in the train with Toussaint and Sindra well and truly off the back of it. 1.8 seconds off the back of the group now. Got a long way to go, but has to do a lot of work to fix the mess they made early on in this one. Alster still 0.4 of a second ahead of BX. That first sector not really doing too much damage, but it is still purple. How long BX is going to be able to hold him here for? That's the question. How long is BX going to be able to hold to the back of him? I think he's going to... Kauster's, if you made it, you're extremely quick. That's just how it is. He's going to have a lot of pace. He's on a wheel now. He's on a controller now. That's probably holding him back a little bit. But he's gonna do well in GT World Series. Just getting there, the achievement in its own right. For those who are new to this channel, though, don't forget that the sign-ups for the next season, sign-ups for season 9, are live. The sign-ups for season 9 are currently live. If you need any information, there should be a link in the Discord below that takes you to the server, which you can then get a hold of me, or any of the other helpers in the server, and we can point you in the direction of where to sign up. Kauster still ahead of BX, but that gap is coming down rather than going up, and BX is keeping him very, very honest through the opening stages of this race. You would expect the Viper doesn't have too much worse on the fuel than the Jag at the moment. In terms of the tyres as well, not really much to separate them at all in the opening stages of this one. It's gonna be this. It's just gonna be between these two. Who blinks first? Who's the one that makes the first mistake? Aura ahead of Kellen. Kellen going a little bit wide there. Alessandro ahead of Emery. Emery ahead of Jensen. Monk is still there as well. Emery needs to use Alessandro to stay ahead of Jensen right now, because Jensen's going to be trying to make a move at some point. It's going to stay as it was, heading into the final couple of corners on lap 7 here. Senor Fak is ahead of Ahmed, who is ahead of Mortal. Kepler on the inside against Inkyo there. Inkyo is trying his best to go the long way round, and Inkyo is up in a 12th to go the long way round on the Viper. Really good work there from Inkyo to get the position. Kepler is going to have to fight this back. Toussaint is going on the back of Inkyo here, maybe just to help Inkyo just a little bit. Nope, Kepler has gone on the outside and got back through. And Kepler is going to have that position on Inkyo then. Well, like a really good move on the exit of the hairpins, just not one he could keep against the speed, the straight line speed of the Viper. Looks like Mortal there is now got himself relatively clear of Kepler, so he can focus his way forward rather than backwards now. Looks like Alessandro's caught back up to Kellen, which is not a good sign for the front three, from third onwards, to be honest with you, because that's just going to increase the amount of charge in this train. And if anything, it's going to help Jensen and Monk get back into a fight for the lead. Project Platypus in particular need that to not happen. They need to outscore NWR at this point in time, get that gap as short as it possibly can be by the time the double points races hit in a couple of weeks. If you can get yourself into a position, or into the pits now then, you can get yourself into a position where you can set yourself up, gap being less than maybe 25. For example, one race is enough to swing that tie when it comes to double points. All it will take is one bad race for NWR and Project Platypus will be in a glorious position to steal the limelight. Championship by no means over. The halfway point threw a little bit of a spanner in the work. The Canada race put NWR, well, maybe a little bit of a reality check to NWR, who has not had a lot of problems in this server in the last couple of seasons since their initiation. But like, at the same time, I'm not entirely sure. They're used to not winning a couple of races in a row. That has been the case. Don't forget, Dragon Trail Aura won Aero GT's first race since they joined the competition, and he backed it up last week. He won in Canada as well. It put them firmly in third place and put them in with a shot. Aura unfortunately found himself in a position again where he's on a team that hasn't given him an awful lot of help in terms of Lobby A. And not today anyway. He's the only one in this lobby. Project Platypus and NWR, the two direct rivals, have both put 3 in Lobby A for this race after qualifying. So Aura's playing damage limitations. Project Platypus are trying to advance onwards. Calster just popped the fastest lap of the race so far, 26.6 on the medium tyre. Well, very interesting that BX has well and truly held him honest. I did not think this was going to be the case, given the fact they had a 2-second advantage the entire way onwards. Well, the entire way through qualifying. BX has well and truly kept himself in with a chance. Kellen obviously 2.8 seconds, now 3 seconds back off the back of his own teammate. All was on mediums. The entire grid started on mediums, I think. Oh, apart from Toussaint. Toussaint was the only soft runner in the entirety of the front pack. There is a penalty in front for Kepler as Inkyo looks to try and take that position back then in the back straight. We'll stick with these two for now. Watch the penalty go on, and then we'll see her back to the front. Kepler will serve this half-second penalty on the next hit on the line. You got Immortal going after Ahmed just ahead. Inkyo is on the outside now. Will go past. Will Toussaint get a chance to have a go? Syndra's picked up half a second in the background of the screen, but Toussaint not going to be able to go after Kepler. Inkyo is ahead. Kepler gets a little bit shaky. Gets even more shaky on the exit of the hairpin, but it's not enough for Toussaint to go after him. Ahmed into the pits. This is all stock cars, I would like to point out, I'm pretty sure. We go through, let's go a little bit further forward. And Monkis has dropped off the back of Jensen, 1.1 seconds now. Still comfortably ahead of Senor Fak. Jensen is still hanging in with Emery and with Alessandro, who's on the back of Kellen now. BX is still right on the back of Kauster, and that had not changed since the word go. BX has done a fantastic job here for Project Platypus, keeping them in with a massive shout for the GT World Series driver here. Go through, Kellen still ahead of Alessandro. ITM getting one of the only teams that are apparently getting their liveries on today for some reason. I wonder if BX is going to get the opportunity at some point to make a move, to try and stick something in this race, because if he can try and make something happen here, we could get a very interesting end. We continue on lap 11. Still going at each other at the front, nothing really changing however. Nothing really changing here either. BX still half a second behind. D'Alessandro not really closing on Kellen, still half second between those guys as well. That's a machinery between Alessandro and Kellen, so Alessandra's just going to have to find the pace from somewhere. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it. Jensen 1.3 seconds ahead of Monkis now, is dropping off just a little bit. Got a lot less fuel to go with, so it's not a good sign for Monkis here. Senor Fak 1.6 ahead of Mortal, 2 seconds ahead of Inkyo, got a half-second penalty with Kepler right behind. Susan after that as well. I think Susan's still too far away for the half-second penalty to bring him into effect. Sindra currently runs the last of people who have not hit up to this point. See Aura and we see Ahmed, are the only two drivers right now into the pits. Inkyo gonna have the half-second penalty. Kepler should go past him. Italian battling going on here. Two different teams, however. Here we go. Kepler to the inside. Kepler gets himself ahead. An entire car whips ahead as well by the time they hit the hairpin, so Kepler should have an advantage over the Citroen in that Viper, especially in the straight line speed. So I don't think Inkyo is going to try and fight him. Inkyo is into the pits. Okay, so Aura's in, Ahmed's in. Inkyo is now in as well. Susan and Sindra trying to keep themselves honest on the back of Kepler. Mortal needs to get back onto the back of Senor Fak as well. Monkis just trying to eat back into the time that this group had got on him, and he's doing it well. Should be back into that slipstream sooner rather than later. The front two have got themselves a 4 1/4 second advantage over the rest of the field. Aura was third when he pit. Toussaint the only one that started on the soft tyre. We'll see if that is going to come into play later on. Continue on. BX Kauster, actually BX may have a little bit more in all fronts than what Kauster has right now. A little bit more on the front tyres, a little bit more on the fuel. There may be a potential for an undercut if he wants it. Wonder when the pit stops are going to come from the front two, and it might not be now. So those two continue on. Kellen behind them still continuing on as well, with Alessandro after that still out of the pits. Emery still going. Same with Jensen, and Monkis is now back within the second as well, so the slipstream is going to kick in for him, and that's good news for NWR, because Monkis was just slowly dropping off the back. He needs to get himself involved. He needs to get himself involved very quickly. Didn't look great there. That's a certain for Aero driver. It looked a little bit shaky from Jensen, and Monkis was wide. They're still within that second mark of the car in front. It's where the slipstreams just start to kick in at its strongest point. Mortal 2 seconds off the back of Senor Fak. He has got to fix that. Susan all 1.3 off the back of Kepler. Kepler got himself just a little bit of breathing room. Cinder after that. And then it's Aero 12 seconds off the back, but he's already made him one pit stop in this race. He's used both the tyres. He's not going to go to the end because there's still, what, 34 to the end here. So he's going to have to figure it out in terms of what he's doing for the strategy. He'll come in and he already knows what he's doing, but he's going to have to figure it out with how it was going to work with the front three. Ahmed 8 seconds off the back of him, and then Inkio a further 8 seconds off the back of Ahmed. So there's a very much a split between the different packs we were having. Calster into the pits, BX into the pits, Kellen in as well. Alessandro's going to follow him in, Emery's following him in, Jensen staying out. And Monkus is in as well, Senor Fak is staying out, Mortal is staying out, Kepler is diving in, Toussaint is staying out, Cinder is staying out. And now we have a little bit of a leveler now then. Where is Aura going to come out in respect to BX and in respect to Calster? I think Calster may still have a very slight advantage as you look through the pits. BX is going to 60%, Calster is going to 67%, and we have a new leader! We have a new net race leader then! Aura is right there as well! Aura is right on the back of them, but BX has jumped Calster. He has put in a little bit less fuel. They've both gone to the same tyre. And now things get a lot more interesting. BX has been hanging with Calster the entire time. Calster's been keeping that upper hand. Now the shoe's on the other foot. How does this play out? Oh, this is very interesting. We've got 3 different teams in the top 3. All 3 of those teams are the current top 3 in the actual championship as well. We've just had a flip in the order of what they were in before the day started. BX currently outdoing Calster. Don't forget Kellen is currently outdoing Jensen as well. This becomes a lot more interesting in terms of the championship if this continues on in this manner. Senor Fak into the pits, Mortal into the pits, Hassan and Sindra all into the pits as well. Jensen is the lone man that remained that has not made the stop. So it's currently Jensen from BX, from Calster, from Aura, and it's Alessandro ahead of Kellen. So Alessandro jumped Kellen in the pit stop as well. So Kellen's got to find a way back. Kellen has got to find himself a way back here. Emery's off the back of that. Then it's Monkus 3 seconds off the back of the group. Monkus did put a little bit more fuel in than the rest of the pack. But he is now going to fight Ahmed and he's going to fight Senor Fak here. If he can, Monkus, right now, Monkus absolutely needs to avoid getting dragged into this battle. Because if he gets dragged into the battle with Ahmed, if he gets dragged into the battle with Senor Fak, he is going to struggle. I can promise you Jensen's not in that battle. And Jensen's the car ahead of what Monkus is right now. If Monkus gets dragged into a battle with the Two Kingdom driver in particular, there may be a little bit of problems for Monkus going on in this race. Don't forget, Monkus started with 2 wins in his first 3. Hasn't won in his last 2 attempts at an ALR race. Had driven 5 now. The win rate that was 100% now sits at 40. And it gets very interesting to see the situation unfold. Alessandro's still ahead of Kellen. These guys are going to drive past with Jensen coming out of the pits now. Jensen is going to come out, but he is behind at least 2 of these drivers. Alessandro and Kellen goes by. He just about beats out Emery. So Jensen has jumped Emery then. Problem is that Monkus is now 2.5 seconds off the back of the group as a whole. Even if Emery is now the car he has to catch, he is a long way back. Ahmed is not laying up either. 9 seconds off the lead. BX is still has the advantage over Calster for now. I reckon Project Platypus will look at that with a lot of happiness. Mortal 1.6 off the back of Faki has got to nail these soft laps down to try and get back at the very least. Whether or not the gap is going to increase by the time this race is done, it's going to be very, very, very close. The gap 45 before the beginning of the day at the front of the grid. Don't forget we also have battles for 5th place as well. The top 5 proceed on to week 7 and week 8. Next week is the last chance that teams can qualify. The top 3 well and truly safe. That'll be Aero GT, that'll be Project Platypus and NWR, but teams, if you are so in the place of Two Oil Kingdom, if you are in the place of Italian Team Motorsport, your spot in week 7 and week 8 is not safe yet. You've got to put things together. ITM looks very much in a position to solidify their shot into the final bye, but there is one gigantic spot in 5th place up for grabs. 4 or 5 different teams fighting for it as well. That didn't look good for Kellen in the slightest. That was wild. That was a wild exit. Way too wide, and it's going to open up the gap now between him and Alessandro. Brings Jensen back into it. Almost cleared Jensen of a second, but that kind of dissipated now. See if this continues on, whether or not Jensen's going to be able to take advantage. Everyone is on the soft tyres now. Especially in this pack. Over 2.9 seconds ahead of Alessandro. 2 seconds off the back of Kauster and BX. And BX still has the advantage over the Jaguar. Should something I did not think I'd be saying 18 laps into this race. Project Platypus has the upper hand right now. Gap stays about half a second. Kauster's trying to put a little bit of pressure on. The X usually on a Monday is relatively immune to that pressure, but in Esports he has been prone to a spin or two in the past. Right now, looks to have put that kind of pass behind him. We'll see how long that lasts for. But right now he is in control of everything of proceedings in this one. Alessandro not catching up to Aura, but Aura is losing ground at the front. Kellen still on the back of Alessandro as well, trying to steal back 4th place after Alessandro got it in the pit stop. Then you've got Emery, who's actually ahead of Jensen now as well. So Emery's got back ahead of Jensen. Is there a way we can see what happened there? There is not. That is a shame. I do need to clear out this storage because I think the replays are also messing up as a result of it. Continue on. So Jensen still is now behind Emery. Emery's doing a good job for ITM. ITM looking very, very, very solid in terms of solidifying 4th place. Don't forget Two Oil Kingdom, there's a team behind them. Two Oil Kingdoms is not in much of a position to take advantage. Ahmed the only car for that team. Ahmed and Sindris are the only cars in there for the Two Oil Kingdom team. Not really doing much damage in this race in the slightest. Monkis has dropped Ahmed now. Senor Back is on the back of Ahmed. Mortal has got to get it moving. He is not doing that while he's sliding the car. Tokyo drifting around the first turn. He's got no worries from behind him, but the problem is if he needs to start moving forward. He needs to start snatching a place or two. If he can beat Monkus, even better. The likelihood of that happening is not very high, so he's just got to finish behind him. Monkus is starting to slowly close that gap back to the front, to the middle pack. And we get Jensen with Emery in front of Jensen, then Kellen and Alessandro as well. Fighting from 4th through 7th right now. So fight for the lead. That is 0.3 of a second. We'll go back to the front then, because Kauster looks to have got a far better exit than the Viper did. Is there going to be anything in this for Kauster? This might be the opportunity he gets. This is going to be his best chance in a long time. Kauster is right pressuring him now. Right on the side of him. Is he going to go for the move here? Or is he going to bide his time? The answer is the lie. He's going to decide to bide his time. He could have easily tried to push through a move, but saving a little bit of fuel behind BX most likely. And watching BX have to expend just a little bit more. In a situation where BX is able to open that second gap at any point, Calston might be looking back on that potential chance of a move and wondering whether or not he should have gone for it, but hindsight will be 20/20 by the end of this one. That's a certain. Right now, BX still has control over the entire situation. He's going to get a slightly better exit than Calston will down the back straight. That gap is going to open up just a little bit further, up to 4.5 tenths of a second. We'll see where Calston, what if anything, is Calston able to do into the back straight. Not really an awful lot into the hairpin, actually. It goes through. Calston, not great on the entrance, but the exit is significantly better. Look at that sort of exit. It's a compromised line going in, but it's just a significantly better exit than what the Viper could ever amass. And this looks like an opportunity. Is he going to continue to look behind BX for now, save that fuel? He will down into turn 1, so he will just bide his time. Aura is still 1.3 ahead of Alessandro, still ahead of Kellen. Emery looking to the inside. Emery looking to the inside for certain now. And Emery is up ahead of Kellen. And ITM looking very good in 4th and 5th. If there was any chance, any time for you to pick out a good performance to try and solidify yourself in that top 5 going into next week, well, this is about as good as any. Don't forget, Kepler is in this lobby as well. Monk is 1.9 seconds off the back of Jensen. Then it's Ahmed. Then it's Senor Fak in 10th. Mortal's right on the back of Senor Fak, but that's going to get washed away with the half-second penalty. Then everything Mortal's done to gain back on Fak has just started to, well, he's going to have to do all over again. It doesn't look too comfortable when you watch Mortal drive that car, that Viper. If we're being completely honest with ourselves here. It just looks a little bit awkward the more he goes round. Kepler 3 seconds off the back of that. Syndra 4.5 on in 13th. Then Inkyo and then Toussaint on the back of the field, who's currently on the soft tyre as well. TBG in this lobby, in Lobby A, for either the first or the second time in the team's existence, and right now we're not really doing much better than they would have fared in Lobby B or Lobby C, to be honest with you. Well, VX still had the advantage over Calston. That's going to continue on, and probably for the rest of the stint now. Aura has been dragged all the way into the fight with the rest of the pack. Kellen's got a half-second penalty, so that'll be advantage Jensen there then. And that is not good news for Project Platypus. They need to Kellen to stay ahead of Jensen for as long as he could possibly muster. So that means Jensen's going to have a really good opportunity to try and blow away from Kellen here. He's going to have to go through ITM to do it. And ITM are going to have to go through Aura to get themselves away. We'll see if that is going to be something that they are able to achieve. The top 2 6 seconds clear. The advantage of the top 2 is really, really crystal clear to the rest of the pack. The real question now is it going to be NWR returning to the top step after 2 wins from Aero GT? Or are we going to continue a little bit of a trend here where NWR don't win the races in the middle of this season? It would be 3 races in a row. It would be the 3rd different team to win if BX is going to be able to hold on against Calston. That advantage is still in the favour of the Project Platypus Cup, and now Aero GT losing out on the outside with Alessandro on the inside. Emery took a look as well, but not really able to do anything. Aura stayed ahead of Emery, but not ahead of Alessandro. So Alessandro into the top 3. For those who were watching last week, you guys should remember that Alessandro was fighting for 2nd place. Alessandro was in cruise control for a podium, had a brilliant roll of everything. And ITM would be in a lot better of a position had he finished the race than had he, than the DC that did occur. He might be taking that podium by force, regardless of whether or not his internet wants him to. This is going to be very interesting. Everyone started, apart from Toussaint, started on the soft tyre. Aura's picked up half a second of penalties here. Won't serve it on this lap, but he will serve it on the next one. It won't particularly matter to Emery, though, who's gone to the inside of the hairpin. Side by side, Aura is on the outside, Emery is on the inside. Emery, not really. Well, Emery is ahead. Aura's not able to stop Jensen either from having a pot shot. Jensen not able to get by. But Emery absolutely is, and ITM put another little bit of a foothold on this race. A mistake from Calster, a mistake from BX, and they'll have a double podium in hand. Aura! Oh, he's made a mistake! Aura's made the mistake! Into the wall he goes! I think it was just a late break, and he just he just got it wrong. He just got it wrong. He's dropped behind Monkis for good measure. Senior back is ahead of Ahmed now as well. And Immortal on the back of these two. Any sort of stake that Aero GT may have made in the last 2 weeks to try and storm a title challenge may have just fallen by the wayside in this race. And it's not all, well, it's not Aura's fault at all, to be honest with you. He made the mistake here, but 2 in Lobby B and Lobby C is just not going to cut it. Especially between against Project Platypus and against NWR, who have 3 apiece in the race we're currently watching. Toussaint still at the back, with Inkyo comfortably off the back of Syndra. Gap there, almost 3 seconds. Then you've got Kepler in 12th, an extra 5.5 off the road. A little bit no man's land here for Syndra. Mortal right on the back of Ahmed still, and that's Senor back in front of them as they fight for 9th. Aura made the mistake earlier on that puts him in 10th, actually puts him in this battle with Senor Fack and company. And I can imagine that's probably not where Aura wanted to be after his first stint. After his second stint here, considering he pit earlier than the rest of the group. Monkis is 4.5 seconds up the road. This is going to take some doing now for Aura to beat him. On lap 26 of 48 here. 22 still to go. Over half race distance. In the back. So we've got less than half race distance to go until the end here. So Monkis just getting a little bit sketchy on the grass there. Kellen's still ahead of him. Right on the back of Jensen in front. Jensen still tried to tag on the back of Emery, who's doing a good job of holding onto the back of his own teammate. Alessandro still trying to go for that podium. Robbed of him last week, quite heavily robbed of him last week. I think he's here to prove a point in that Z4. Calster is 7.5 seconds off the road, BX 8.25. It's about a quarter second now between BX and Calster as well. They head down into turn 1 on lap 27, and these two have been doing the same song and dance for at least 10 laps now. Nothing is really changing between the two of them. Well, looking here, Emery's still ahead. Emery's still ahead of Jensen. That gap is coming down though. This train is very much functioning its way through the middle of the race. Here comes Jensen to the inside. This could be interesting if he goes after Emery. Emery made the mistake. Emery's going to have to just keep himself alive here. Jensen's going the long way round. Jensen's going to get a little bit squeezed down as a result. Oh, there's contact between Kellen, Jensen, and I think that was Emery as well. Oh, that is massive contact. That is massive contact between the 3 of them. Emery has been shoved into the wall. Jensen and Kellen with the contact between each other. Oh my God. That is massive. That is massive, and I think it might get pinned on Kellen. Oh no. I don't really know if there's a lot that Jessica could possibly have done. That is... Ouch. Well, if you're Monkiss, you're laughing. If you're Monkiss, you are absolutely laughing because you had no right in being in this battle. And you're being brought well and truly back into it from an absolute clusterfuck in front. Wow. All of that. Oh no. I think it may have been Kellen on the back wheel of Jensen. That might have been what caused it. Would have to have a second look. I don't have the ability to do replays, unfortunately, because I don't have enough storage. I don't think Kellen's doing an awful lot. He's just there. That's just incredibly... Wow, there's a violent crash for what it was. That's a sad. I would need a second look at that. 100% need a second look at that. I think you might be right by saying it's on Kellen. I think he is just hit the back of Jensen's car, but I can't say without another look. That all happened bang bang very quickly. There is someone off the track. Because that is Toussaint who's left the room. Didn't quite get to him in time to see whether or not that's a rage quit or not, but it didn't look great, I'll tell you that much. In comes Aura, in comes Ahmed. That didn't... Wow. Okay, so Emery's the big loser out of everything that happened there. ITM are probably going to be the ones screwing the most, to be honest with you. NWR are not gonna be complaining in the slightest. NWR are the big winners of this situation because Jensen's got into fourth. Jensen has got into fourth, and Monkiss has somehow come from literally the depths of hell in this race in terms of not being anywhere near this train and has managed to put himself right behind his teammate again. This has not been pretty by any way, shape or form from Monkiss. I reckon he'll tell you that for free. And I don't know if he would have been in the wall. He definitely would have been struggling to keep it alive. I'll give you that much. I don't know if he would have been in the wall. I don't know if they were that violent. Henry was just definitely wrong place, wrong time. I'll tell you that much. Again, without a second look, we will get a second look. We will get a second look, just not on this stream. In the chat afterwards, there will be almost like three or four different versions of it. Promise, there, I can see that one coming. And they'll definitely end up in the stewards, 100%. So we'll get a second look at some point during the week. But I don't think Jensen would have been in the wall. I think Jensen would have been able to save it. However, Henry definitely didn't get the chance. Henry was just wrong place, wrong time. I think Kellen may have been the one that tapped the quarter panel, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to make too much of it. Further than what's already going on. Alessandro is still in the top three, so ITM hasn't lost everything. Henry only dropped to 7th. He did only lose the 3 positions. Of course, he's going to feel aggrieved by that, but he's going to have to realize he did only lose the 3. As long as he keeps himself together here, he won't lose to Fakai, who's in 8th now. Kepler is in 9th. Mortal is dead, apparently. 136 on the last lap. I think, yeah, Mortal's found on the last lap. 100% he's found on the last lap. I just don't know where. He's got Syndra right in the back of him now. That is not a good sign. Not a good place to be in the slightest. Over ahead of Ahmed. Those two onto a new, onto new sets of softer piece. That might be to go to the end here. It could be, but I'm not entirely sure. Not sure in the slightest. Absolutely adore and have a look at it. What team are you looking to drive for, Matt Gray? Out of curiosity, and go into the pits then. The guy at the back of the grid on track. Emery 3.8 behind Kellen. I don't really think he's getting that back somehow. He just got to keep himself ahead of Vac and just... Ah, you're entering one. Nice. Nice. Are you in the server already, Macri? Out of curiosity, Monkis is only 0.3 of a second ahead of Kellen. Don't forget Jensen is ahead now. Jensen has cleared his own teammate. And we'll see if Kellen's going to go for a move here then. If Kellen can get past on Monkis, this would be good. This has got to be done for Project Platypus now. After everything, Mortal's had a few spins, so that chance of beating Monkis has fallen by the wayside. Kellen has got to beat them. Otherwise, that gap is going to extend, and if it extends further, Castor, look at that, Calster, sorry, has saved a ton of fuel. They're into the pits. So Calster has saved an absolute ton of fuel. 10% further than BX, and that's what it's been the entire time. It's just been Calster saving fuel. So Calster's going to have advantage here. 100% advantage, Calster. Mortal staying out, Syndra staying out. Calster is going to beat him out by the looks of things. It's going to be very close to whether or not BX does. Oh, I don't think BX does. BX is going to beat Syndra out because Syndra is way off the line. So Syndra just lets BX back through. BX has got to go past his own teammate, but the problem is if he goes past his own teammate, his teammate's going to get done by the Ferrari. Oh, this is interesting. Calster has a significant advantage now. In terms of how the rest of the race has been driven, Calster is in control. I wonder if this is going to be a tactical move. This has got to be a tactical team move here to keep himself through. He's got to keep Mortal ahead of Syndra. That has got to be done. You lose the position of Syndra here. Oh, Mortal's got a penalty! Mortal's got a penalty! Oh, no! Oh, this is going from bad to worse for Project Platypus. And then BX has gone through. Alright, so the move has been executed fairly. Mortal's not lost any time, but he has got a penalty and now has to do some work to stay ahead of Syndra. That is not good news for Mortal. BX obviously staying out because he just pit on the lap prior. Jensen, Mortal and Syndra all into the pits then. Calster had a 2-second advantage on BX. This is going to have to be some really good driving here from BX to even potentially threaten Calster from here on out. Don't forget, they're both going to the end now. They're both going to the end of this race. This is going to just be purely down to driver skill. The problem for BX is he's currently driving against the World Series driver. Good luck getting that back. Even if he handicapped himself by putting himself on a pad, you're going to struggle getting that 2-second advantage back. I think this might be the end of the streak, the end of the run of races that the NWR are not on the top step. They had to bring in a new body to do it though. That new body is going to give them a massive advantage in terms of this championship going forward. Kellen ahead of Monkis. That's a big sign. Monkis is going to have to try and fight this back then. Going down the straight. Hyundai Genesis versus Kellen Z4. I don't really think there's going to be an awful lot in that. Neither car is too good on a straight line. They're too good at anything outside of just the Z4's acceleration, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, we're going back to earlier on. If you're in the server, you're submitting a team. There should be a form in the server. It's on one of the announcements. It should be on the announcement above this stream actually, on the Discord, where the sign-up page is. If you want to do that, that way we can. Oh, Monkis getting a little bit close. Almost into the back of Kellen then. And Wacko will take care of the rest of it. Oh yeah, we can start for you. Alessandro still ahead of Jensen, 0.4 of a second right now. Those two basically about as good as each other in terms of the tyres, in terms of the fuel. Maybe one lap pressure for Jensen. That looked a little bit awkward. Define good, Macri. What level of good are we looking at? I think, because in terms of this esports league, there are different, whole levels of good at this point. Well, there's kind of 3 distinct sets of levels at this point in the current setting that we currently have. Alessandro ahead of Jensen. Kellen still has advantage over Monkus. Good sign. Always love a good team to challenge for this lobby A, the best drivers we can get. Alessandro 9 seconds off the back of BX. BX is slowly but surely chalking away at Kauster's time. It is slowly coming down, but he is doing it. If BX can get into the slipstream of Kauster, it's not over. There isn't going to be any need for the fuel saving anymore. There's not a need for the fuel saving anymore. If Kauster gets caught by BX, it'll be game on. 1.6, it was 2-0 the last time we came to check on it. They're slowly coming down. Jensen is slowly but surely eating away at Alessandro as well. Don't forget, now that Toussaint left the lobby, every single person has done a soft and a medium stint. That everyone should be going to the end of their last pit stop. Looks like Jensen is still behind Alessandro. It looks like Kellen is still ahead of Monkus. Emery ahead of Senor Fak, who is ahead of Aura for good measure. Aura's not had a good day at all here. Not a good day at all for Aero GT, to be completely honest with you. It's going to be tailed off the front 2 in the championship standings after this one. Wonder if there's going to be any sort of opportunity for a move, for potentially if there's anything for Aura, if there's anything for Ahmed here to try and sneak into the top 9. Emery's there as well. Didn't even realise the ITF driver is starting to drop back. Senor Fat could go for 7th here. This could be very interesting here. Senor Fat can get a move, get himself away from Aura. It might give him a good shot at finishing in that top 7. Don't forget, everyone around Aura right now is in a Viper, apart from Ahmed. Ahmed in the Merc 20. Aura's in the Citroen. Kepler behind is in a Viper as well. So I wonder what is, well, it's all going to be down to driver skill in this one. Currently sits at about half a second between Emery and the Senor back to Aura as well in behind that. Nothing going to happen into the pit, into the hairpin. Kellen has a slight bigger advantage over Monkus. Jensen not really able to get after Alessandro yet either. He's just biding his time. BX is now down to a second. BX has got it down to a second on Kauster. It is going to be a shootout to the right to the very end between these two by the looks of things. BX is not giving it up. Kauster's got a chance to potentially kill it off while it's still a second between them. BX has been fairly flawless today. Kauster did the second stint extremely well in terms of how he kept it going with the pit strategy, just to save the amount of fuel that he could to gain the advantage over BX in the first place. The problem that Kauster probably finds is if BX can get close enough, BX is just going to go for it. There is no sort of waiting around. BX will just go for it. And for the first time on this stint, that gap did drop below the 1 second mark. It's back up to about 1.1, but BX is going to shut it down just a little bit further. It's going to be extremely interesting. Alessandro's still ahead of Jensen. Those two still going at it. Kellen's still ahead of Monkis. You can imagine the NWR are just trying to bide their time, though, in terms of trying to make this work. Emery's still ahead of Senor Faku, still ahead of Aura. Ahmed's behind that. Nothing really changed. Kepler is starting to chunk in, and there you go. Well, how dare I actually say something, because it immediately means the opposite will happen. Kepler gets the half second. His chunking is going to be taken away. Alessandro overtaken by Jensen then. Alessandro overtaken by Jensen. I think Jensen may have just tried to figure things out. Kellen is in Project Platypus, I believe. Yeah, Kellen should be Project Platypus. Alessandro now dropping slightly off the back of Jensen, and after all that work, all that he's done in this race to put himself in control of the podium position, it might have got snatched away from him again. Calster ahead of BX, that's 8/10 of a second. Alessandro now fighting back against Jensen for third place. Those two are going to be fighting for that bottom step of the podium. You would imagine Jensen is in a better place to try and take advantage of this. Alessandro in the better of the two cars, though. Monkis is now ahead of Kellen as well. Monkis ahead of Kellen behind. Monkis up in a fifth. Kellen down in the sixth. That is directly Project Platypus versus NWR. Is Kellen going to fight this back? I'm assuming he is going to. Down the home straight. Kellen doesn't elect to go for the move. Which means Kellen's just looking to bide his time now. I wonder where Kellen's going to try and take the move for it. Aura's got past on Senor Fac as they exit turn 1. Senor Fac loses out to Aura. Aero GT recovering a place. Aura's going to have a go at Emery at some point to try and snatch back a top 7 finish. After his mistake, I think probably the best he could have got. The only one in the top 6 to have actually made much of a mistake outside of the Kellen Jensen incident. That's one for the stewards to take a look at later on. Ahmed on the back of Senor Fac as Ahmed looks to try and get an extra couple of points out of this. Kepler is now within 2 seconds of the group as well. So Kepler for ITM just maybe able to take a couple of positions, gain an extra couple of points for that team, really solidify 4th place. Mortal in 12th ahead of Sindra, but realistically not fighting for anything more than that. Inkyo is at the back of the grid. I don't think Sindra has got any sort of chance on the Viper here. Nope, not in a million years. We'll go back to the fight between these four at the very least. Looks like Emery has got 7/10 of a second advantage on the Citroen, who has the Viper in behind him. The Viper's going to have a good look at this. The Viper's going to have a very good look at this. He elects not to go for it. So, Senor Fac still on the back of Aura! There may have been a little bit of contact there! There may have been a little bit of a bump in turn 1 and Aura's round! Senor Fac gets the position! I don't know if there's going to be any sort of discussion in that one. There was a bump in turn 1. I don't know how much of that caused the spin. The Citroen is a little bit of a twitchy car on the throttle, so it might have been a bit of both. I'm not entirely sure. It looked a little bit visceral. I'm not sure what has actually gone on there. Either way, they've all gained a position in behind Aura. Oh, Kepler is in the wall now! Kepler has got far too much on the fault. That was self-inflicted. And Kepler is going to lose out. Aura will just take that position back, so it's not too much damage done in the end. Sindra got past Mortal, but Mortal gained the position straight back on Kepler. If Mortal can get past Sindra, that's a position gained out of all of that. And Mortal, if he's going to go for this, will go for it down into turn 1. Senor Fac still ahead of Ahmed, not really going for that much going for there. Kellen overtaken by Monkis again. Kellen behind Monkis, and Monkis in 5th, Kellen in 6th. Something's got to change in that one for Monkiss. Alessandro is still 8 tenths of a second behind Jensen. Jensen looks to try and solidify that third place now. BX is still right on the back of Kauster. That gap is still within a second. BX is trying to open opportunities up here. All he'll need is one. One well-timed one at the very least. The real question is he going to be able to fashion it? I wonder if he's going to be able to. Emery's got himself a massive advantage now. Immortal is ahead of Syndra. So Immortal has gained the position out of all of this. Not really sure he's going to be able to take any sort of charge to Aura in front of him. He's just going to have to try and defend 11th. Emery's still ahead there. Monk is still ahead of Kellen as well, so you wonder when Kellen's going to pick his spot. Looks like he's got a much better run now. Got a much better run now. Will Kellen choose to pick his spot down into turn 1, or will he wait? He is going to wait. Give Monkiss just a little bit more of a false sense of security in 5th place. I imagine there's probably going to be some stewards inquiry between the two teams as well. And they continue on. Alessandro just about maintaining the gap to Jensen in that first sector. We'll see if there's going to be anything out in front on lap 42 of 48. A meter about 6 to go. Will BX have enough in the tank against Kauster? It's going to be a straight shootout. Is there going to be anything in this for BX? That's the big question. That's the question we're going to get answered by the end of this. Is Project Platypus going to be able to spoil the debut of Kauster? Or is it going to be Kauster to come in and be the latest name to win on his debut? In the burgundy red at the very least. 3 tenths of a second currently for Monkiss over Kellen. Be very interested to see when Kellen picks his spot here. 2 tenths of a second currently splits the two of them. Kellen's just going to leave him be again here. You can see Kellen just kind of backing out as they go through. It's well and truly accepted he's not ending anything higher than 5th. Alessandro now 3 seconds in the clear. Oh, he actually did get Mortal. Mortal has got Mortal. Yeah, there is only a team standing, yes. Each individual driver's performance does matter because you score points based on where you finish, but it is a team championship overall, yeah. Continue on. Inkyo ahead of Inkyo behind Kepler. Kepler has not had a great time since that extra spin. Sindris right behind Oru, who has had a really bad day in the office. I'm not entirely sure. I think this is going to be extremely one to forget for him, that's for certain. The real question is now, can he get himself back ahead of Mortal and finish in the top 10 if nothing else? Project Platypus won't complain with an extra position on top. Take a little bit out of the secondary rivals in Aero GT and get a little bit closer to NWR, who will take a firm standing in this championship at the end of this one, the way it is currently going. Senor Fak is still defending from Ahmed. Monkiss and Kellen. Kellen on the outside. Monkiss has defended for the first time in a few laps. Kellen not able to make the move, as Monkiss did defend the inside well. Monkiss is still in 5th then. Jensen has an entire second advantage to Alessandro. Alessandro just dropping off the pace. Still, one mistake from Jensen can definitely keep it going between those two. Kauster is only half a second ahead of BX. BX just needs one shot. He is going to only get, realistically, if he is going to win this race, he is only going to get one shot at this. So he's going to have to pick his spot. The question is, if you're BX, when do you pick your spot? Because you know who you're driving against. You know who you're driving against is one of the best in the world on this game as it stands. So he's been through the ringer. He knows what he's doing. How do you beat that? How do you make the move that he potentially hasn't seen yet? Or something that he just cannot defend? That is the option, that is the decision BX has got to make now. I assume he's going to try this down onto the beginning of 48. That is when I would do it. That's when I would be potentially looking to make that move. The problem is, and I said this a lot of times on this channel before, is if the move comes to you before that and you don't go for it, and then later on you don't get that second opportunity, you look like an idiot. You look like an idiot for passing up a glorious chance. So it's weighing up the opportunity, the pros and cons of going now versus potentially getting something later on. Because if you get it on lap 48, you probably win. You go now, you'll be back and forth for a couple of laps. This is going to be a very interesting scenario for BX. Because he's the one that holds all the power here. He is the one that holds all the opportunity. All he has to do is stick to the back of a GT World Series driver for long enough to make a move. And that, my friends, is very much easier said than done. He has done it extremely well for the first 45 laps. Ten seconds behind. Jensen is about 11 seconds behind. He's cleared Alessandro now. Monkis is still ahead of Kellen. Kellen probably still looking to pick his spot as well. We could see a decent sized point shift between Project Platypus and NWR if both of those moves go by the end of this race. Monkis defending the inside again. Kellen on the outside going the long way round. He might have a better acceleration on the exit. This could be interesting. He has got himself a wheel inside. And he backs back out. Once again, Monkis defending well. Ahmed not able to do anything against Senor Fak. Aura's dropped behind Syndra now on what has just gone from bad to worse to him with a half-second penalty. And that is bad news for Aura because Kepler is right there as well, and Kepler is looking to try and steal a position on what has been a dismal race for him as well. It's going to get very interesting the longer this goes. 2/10 of a second again. BX looking to just break that toe, just to give him enough room to break. Take a look in, see the braking zone, break at the appropriate time. Kauster is just doing enough as it stands. We are going to go with 2 to go now. So this is going to be it. BX is going to have 1-2 laps realistically to go for this. This is mine made up now. This is mine made up. He's got one last chance to really go for this. Oh, he might go for it now. He made a look to the inside. He may have made Kauster make a mistake. Nope, Kauster stay ahead. Kauster will stay ahead onto the penultimate lap, which now realistically gives BX 2 more opportunities to make a pass. Kellen and Monkis are fighting down into turn 1. Monkis has made a mistake. Kellen gets a little bit of contact on the Hyundai and chooses not to go through due to that little bit of contact. Well, things get very interesting now, because Kauster's got one more opportunity to defend. Monkis has one more opportunity to defend. And this is a potentially massive swing in points between Project Platypus and NWR right now. This is going to be huge. If Kauster can defend into turn 1 here, because I don't think BX is going now. If BX goes now, this will be a very interesting choice, as he would then have to defend turn 1 and the back straight on the final lap. He chooses not to go now. This is all on the exit. All on the exit now. 4/10 of a second. That currently splits to 2. BX obviously had the faster car in a straight line and the faster car under acceleration, but it doesn't turn as well as the Jag. He is cutting the gap in, but he's not cutting the gap in enough. And the gap into turn 1 isn't going to be enough. It isn't going to be short enough, so he's down to his last opportunity. Kauster will survive turn 1's attack, which means BX has one last chance, one last opportunity to stop this happening. Here comes Kellen. to try and overtake Monkis. He's going to have to go the long way round again. Monkis on the inside to defend against Kellen. We've been seeing this the entire night. Monkis is doing enough. And Kellen has one opportunity. The problem for Kellen is that he doesn't have the straight line speed car down the back straight to really trouble Monkis. Senor Fak doing enough to hold off Ahmed as well. Syndra not even close enough to Mortal, and Kepler is now ahead of Oru, who's now into 13th. To Kauster, a half-second advantage to BX, and this is realistically it. This is the last chance that BX could possibly have to try and snatch something out of the hand of Kauster here. And I don't think he's close enough. I don't think he's close enough. This is going to have to be one hell of an exit to prevent a debut win for Kauster. The World Series driver, much like we saw from Mumu a couple weeks ago in Daytona, is going to have just about enough to hold off someone new. BX, a long time in this server, Kauster on his debut, and the World Series driver is going to take it for NWR and wins on the first opportunity in the Burgundy Red. NWR back on the winner's circle, back on top. BX gave that as good as he possibly could have got for second. Jensen gets himself third, Alessandro fourth, probably feels he's been robbed of another podium. Kellen just about beats out Monkis in the end. Emery gets himself in seventh. Senor Fak holds out against G. Ahmed. Mortal will hold out against Syndra, even if it is by a couple attempts. Kepler will beat out Aura as well. Aura, really, really bad situation for him tonight. And then Inkyo in 14th, he got himself there. That's probably the best he can say about his race. But battles up and down, and the big one has been won by NWR. Project Platypus did get the switcher 1 position, but they didn't get the one they would have wanted. They did not get the one they would have wanted there. And then over what, 70 minutes of racing, they're separated by less than half a second. They're separated by a tenth more than they were separated in qualifying. Yeah, Toussaint, I don't know whether or not it was a DNF or a quit. We'll have to figure that out. But wow. Wow, indeed. Kauster on his debut. We've got one more week. It is our first... Well, it's going to be our final race. Sorry. Before we split into the top 5 for double points attempts. And it's going to be one hell of a time if BX can pull the NWR drivers like that. We're going to have one hell of a rest of the season. Between Project Platypus, who haven't won a team title since Season 3, and NWR, the current reigning champions. That being said, that is everything that I have for you tonight. I will see you guys same place, same time, 8 PM next week, for the final race of the elimination phase of Esports. Until then, peace.